Welcome to the Mile High Podcast. Grateful to be your host, Dr. Daniel Knowles, and grateful that you watch and listen on whatever platform you join us. Make sure you hit subscribe so you never miss any Mile High tick, because why would you ever want to do that? And also, you don't want to miss Mile High 11. It's hard to believe. Oh my God, 11. This coming September, riseuptomilehigh.com, and you want to be there, and also, or maybe you don't know, the person that I am across from here in virtual land, who's at sea level while I'm at 5,280 feet, who will be rising up to 5,280 feet, 4 Mile High. Dr. Jodi Dinnerman will be there this year, not only attending, but also part of the success panel. So Dr. Jodi, thank you for joining us today on the Mile High Podcast.
You're welcome. I'm glad to be here. I was excited to get the invitation.
Well, we're excited to have you. And, Dr. Jodi coordinates Staffless Practice and just had the Practice Joy show. And she also had the honor of being in chiropractic school with me. So we go way back. So Dr. Jodi, thank you so much for taking your time to be here. Let's help people, get to know the Jodi pre-Practice Joy show. So how did you find your way into chiropractic?
Oh, man. I was working in a health food store in Princeton, New Jersey, studying to be on Broadway. That was my dream. And Jeff Bueno, who is near and dear to many of our hearts in the network world, came into my line and said, "There's something about you. I want you to come work for me." And the words came out, "Yes, I would love that." So I started working for him as his front desk CA, and then I went to my first gate, and then I went to New Beginnings, and it was love. I haven't looked back. I'm still totally fired up and in love with chiropractic.
It's funny, you mentioned something that brought me back a memory that you don't know, but I've got to share it, which is Jeff Bueno, who I'm also near and dear. I was working my first network transformational gate ever. And so there's a little nerve-wrackingness to that, of course, obviously. And he was the set of tables next to me. And he actually just said all weekend, rookie. He kept calling me rookie all weekend. So, which was very cute. Yeah. And then it got down to from rookie to rook. So, so I think for a while, he actually called me Rook for a while. So, and then you found your way to Sherman College.
Yeah.
So what made you decide to go to Sherman? What was your life at Sherman College like?
I had a crush on a really cute boy who was in school there.
Oh, did you?
So I followed him there. And it just felt like home. It was like, I went to Israel when I was 16, and I got off the plane and I stepped foot on the land of Israel, and I just felt like I was home. Mm-hmm. I had that same feeling when I went to Sherman. I still feel that when I go there. There was a familiarity about it and a safety about it. And I felt like, chiropractic school is really about pushing every limit that you didn't know you had so that you could prepare to serve. That was my experience with chiropractic school. And I felt like Spartanburg was a good place to do that. I also really loved the philosophy of chiropractic. I was studying Green Book. I was in Green Book meetings with old timers before I went to chiropractic school. So I needed to have the philosophy as part of my curriculum. And Sherman was really the only school that I felt like that was like their first and foremost. And besides the cute boy, I wanted that. I still want it. I can't get enough. Like, I'm the person at chiropractic seminars who like sits in the back at Green Book studies and like takes notes. I just totally dig talking about what our minds are way too small to comprehend. I love to hear people's interpretations of how they've landed in these concepts. It's brilliant.
Well, I get it, because I was like that in school as well. And so that's probably part of why our paths ended up crossing. Now, or part of that whole weaving together of everything. So now, looking ahead, You graduate from chiropractic school.
Yeah.
Where did life lead you?
Yeah. I so I started dating my now husband. We've been together for 30 years. When I was in chiropractic school, and we wanted to either go totally away from home on the West Coast to a small town outside of Seattle, or to come back to where we grew up to be with our family. So we decided to come back to New Jersey. I discovered a little town. It's called Clinton, New Jersey. It's the most photographed town in all of New Jersey because we have a true working red mill, and I've had a practice on the main drag of Clinton. Clinton is truly the town where everybody knows your name. Like I was just telling my son, I was waiting for him at work at the supermarket, and I was sitting on a bench. And while I was sitting on the bench, I saw like 5 people that I knew, and it must have been 3 minutes, right? Because it's that kind of town. So I stamped myself the town chiropractor, and I joke all the time that I will be adjusting people until the cows come home or my hands fall off, whichever happens first. And I probably should stop saying that because the cows aren't coming home, and I'm hoping my hands don't fall off because I do love my hands. So, I've been loving chiropractic since. I'm continuously in awe of what I don't know, the world that I play in of miracles and beauty, and it just leaves me speechless. At least once a day that happens when I'm at the office.
Well, as it should be, which is one
Yeah.
of the beautiful things about being a chiropractor. I always leave my office, and so often, if not always, I leave my office and say, this is the best thing in the world. The adjust those hours where I'm serving people, it's just absolutely amazing. It's the best experience, in my professional life. And that's probably why you did this project around joy. Can you share about this project? Some people may know about it, some may not. What is this joy project you've been working on?
A few years ago, I started coaching, and I did not want to coach, but it happened accidentally, as most big things do, right? And I became the person that runs the niche of running a practice without staff, because that's just what I'm really good at doing in my practice. And the world changed overnight. People needed to know how to have a staffless practice, and I stepped up and I said, okay, I'm ready to teach. And what I found, and I work with not only chiropractors, but doctors of all trades all over the world. Today I was on with somebody in Japan, like literally all over the world. And the theme that I find is that a lot of practitioners don't give themselves permission to enjoy their practice. And I mean, that breaks my heart, you guys. Like, I would say the one word that describes my practice is joy. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool? And usually whatever comes after that thought is like, oh, this is going to happen in like a day. Wouldn't it be cool if we had a TV show all about the joy of practice? And we brought in not only chiropractors, but practitioners of all sorts. And we filmed, and then I went to a seminar. Where was I? I was in Nashville with Dr. Courtney Gowan, and she was talking about her agent. And this is while I had this whole thing going right in my brain and in my heart. And she started talking about her agent. I walked up to her. It was one of those moments I didn't know what I was going to say. And if you haven't met Courtney, she's like this 10-foot tall, blonde supermodel. She is freaking gorgeous, completely intimidating if you don't know her. And I'm like, blah, right? So I walk up to Courtney and I'm like, tell me about your agent, sister. And we became fast friends. And she connected me with her agent in Dallas. And I booked 6 TV shows in 2 days. And we did so much laughing over these 2 days. We had 20 doctors come in and a professional organizer, and just filmed 6 shows, and they're going to be dripping out this fall. It's called the Practice Joy Show. And I cannot wait to see the edited version. So the cool thing is that, like, you walk into the studio and it looks like Oprah's studio, or it looks like a news anchor room.
Right.
I could choose from any of the studios that I wanted. And so I worked in 2 studios throughout the 2 days, and we had a blast. And Dr. Danny was on. A lot of my buddies who I thought, wouldn't it be cool if one of the shows was with me and the people who I really look up to in practice? So that's the mentor show. I did a show with the teachers of the ICPA to hear about joy in practice with babies and pregnancy and kids, because that's my jam. I did a show with all women leaders, women who I look up to. Me and Dr. Courtney co-hosted that show. I did a show with Grant Dennis, who a lot of you guys know, who is just so on purpose. He's so focused, laser beam focused. Andrew Mellon is a world-known professional organizer, came on the show. We actually went live through Target, and like you guys, I can't wait to see it. Like, we videoed the Tupperware aisle and the whiteboards and the notebooks to say, here are tricks, tips, and hacks to implementing and honoring joy in not only just in practice, but in everything that we do, whether it's organizing our kitchen or going for a walk with your honey, or serving the adjustment. Because if you're not coming from a place of joy, you gotta revisit what's going on there, right?
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love it. And so this all comes out when?
Yeah. So the Practice Joy show is going to be aired in the second week in September is the first showing. So every week it will be dripped, and basically it's spreading like wildfire. So the guests that were on the show are going to be sharing their episode with their audience. And I just can't wait to hear the feedback. I can't wait to hear what kind of stories culminate from the joy that we spread. Danny, it's going to be so cool to watch this happen.
It's really exciting. It's really exciting. So, and I'm really honored that I got to be in the mentor episode. That was a lot of fun, and also super excited that it's coming out just before Mile High, 2 weeks before. I didn't realize that. That's going to also be a lot of fun. So it's amazing how things just all come together like that. So yeah. Now you've gone to Mile High as an attendee how many times? Twice?
I've been to 3 Mile Highs.
3. So this is your 4th one.
I think so.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. So what made you go the first time, and what made you decide to attend again?
Honestly, I just missed you guys. I wanted to connect with my Shermies, and that's all I can remember about my wanting to be there. And then the coolest thing about Mile High is that, and if anyone's recording a clip, press record now, okay? Because I'm going to go there. So when I go to Mile High, I fall in. And I know that I'm going to be reunited with people who are life changers. I go to remember my why, to be reconnected to it again and again. I go with expectations, and the expectations are met well beyond what I'm looking for. And there's something about the authenticity of the connections that happen at Mile High. They're not planned on, right? They're always unexpected. And I met my Wade Port, I consider him my chiropractor. I met him through Mile High. So many beautiful connections have happened there. And I just feel like you guys are doing it right. I feel like you've got the right vibe. You got the right team. Everything about the experience has been joyful. And that's what who doesn't want more of that, right?
You know, it's definitely a certain vibe and certain community. And what you said is really interesting, because people say this all the time. Look, we put together an event, and my thought was they have to get real chiropractic, and the content was going to be stellar, and get the best speakers. That was my thought. Right. And we do get that. The presentations are phenomenal, and the people on stage are stellar. However, you didn't talk about that. You talked about your experience and the people. And that's what people say every time, you know, and there's something gels about the community that's just really special. So I appreciate that.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys have to understand, like, I'm not a traveling person. I don't like getting on the airplane. I don't like the hotel. I don't like the bed. I don't like the whole thing. But I come to Mile High because I need that reconnection. There are a couple of chiropractic connector weekends, and Mile High is definitely one of them for me.
Well, and I have to say to you, because we share this, Lyceum's one of those for me, Sherman Lyceum. And I hadn't gone to any weekend. I left chiropractic school and I said I'm not gonna. I just focused on my personal life and my family and my kids, which is a great thing to do. And then the first time I went back to Sherman Lyceum, I was like, "Oh, this is awesome! I remember what this feels like." Right? You know what I mean? Totally.
Yeah, it feels good to go back to Sherman. It looks very different now, but it smells
A
the
little
same,
bit.
feels the same. Yeah, it's very fancy, but you still get the breeze that hits you from the tree. It's still got the same thing going on.
Yes, yes. Now let's talk about a little bit more about staffless practice. Why is why is that an important area of chiropractic for
Mm,
people?
I appreciate that question because nobody teaches us how to be a boss. I never learned it, and I'm horrible at it. Well, now I'm good at it. Delete. I'm really good at it now. I'm trying to get good at it. I had to learn. I have a team of 8 people, and I had to learn how to manage a team. I had to learn how to facilitate. I had to learn how to hire and train the right talent for the right positions. But before I learned that, it was the hardest part of being in practice. Chiropractic is the easy part for me, right? But
Right,
having somebody who wasn't getting the why behind how powerful, like this could change your life, one adjustment. And to get that excitement in somebody, you can't teach that. You either get it or you don't get. You can drip little pieces of it, but it took me a huge aha moment to get it. So when I figured out how to run my practice without staff, and all my friends had watched this process go through me and with me, and then they lost their staff overnight, we started writing books. We, meaning me and my angels, we started writing books. I created a school, and now my school is 3,000 plus hours on every component of running a practice. And I've got 4 books. I'm working on book 5. And I do consulting. We build websites. We build communication platforms. We do all kinds of stuff, all with joy front and center. The irony now, Dr. Danny, is that I have teams of like 10, 20 people hiring me to teach them how to connect with each other and get along, to teach them how to get, and the goal is for everybody to be in their lane of genius, right? So my lane of genius in my office is being a chiropractor. It's not answering the phone. It's not doing the billing, not my lanes of genius. If I want somebody to do my billing, I bring somebody in who billing is their lane of genius, right? So when somebody calls me and says, Jody, I need you to come work with my team, I chuckle a little bit, but now I expect those calls. But my real zone of genius is working with wellness practitioners who want to earn more, serve more, and work less with joy front and center. And I'm really good at it.
good, good, good. That's so awesome, so incredibly awesome. Now, talk to us about your books. I think I see those behind you. Maybe I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So Staffless was the first book, and it's kind of the Cliff Note version of the school. It basically breaks down the main components you need to run a front desk efficiently. If you have a team, give them a copy of the book Staffless, and it will help them be better at what they do.
Mhm.
The Joy-Filled Practice Plan is 1 year of practice ideas to grow your practice with creativity and joy front and center. The playbook is like the how-to guide for the plan. And then finally, the curious practitioner is 900 plus questions to ask before, during, and after opening the practice of your dreams. Because I didn't even know what questions to ask when I graduated school. And that started as a lead magnet, and it just kept growing and growing. And literally, you guys, 900 questions. And it's a fun book. Staffless is definitely the avatar book, though. It's been on the top seller list on Amazon since it came out. And book number 5 is coming out, knock wood, before 2023 is over. And that's called Team of One, WON. And it's all about how to find the right people for the right positions for staying in their lane of genius in your practice.
Outstanding, outstanding. Now, you said something about dream practice or something phrase of that nature. Um, what's a dream practice to you?
So these days, I a typical day, I wake up at 6, I go to CrossFit, I work really hard on my physical body. I come home, I coach for 4 or 5 hours straight. I walk the dog, I take a nap, I fuel my body, and then I go to my office. And when I get to my office, the lights are on, the plants are watered, the mail is brought in, the trash cans are emptied. All I have to do is show up and serve. That is a joy-filled practice. It's when I get to my office, I think to myself, I get to just adjust people right now. Like it's like my playground. I go there to have fun and to spread love. That is a joy-filled practice. And anything that interferes with that expression of joy and love, that to me is a subluxation pattern. And what can I do? Every subluxation pattern has an adjustment waiting to happen, right? So matching the subluxation with the adjustment waiting to happen, matching the person's not taking the trash out right to finding someone who does take it out right. That's a trite example. There's a solution for every problem in practice. And if you go to your office and anything is outside of the box of, I really love doing this, those are the best things to delegate to people who love doing those things. So that's the joy-filled practice in my experience.
Excellent, excellent. And then if someone's thinking their dream practice, how do they determine what their dream is? And let me go back a second. When I was in chiropractic school, you may not know this, Jody, but when we were in school together, my dream practice at that time was I thought I was going to wear cargo shorts and have a floating dock that had chiropractic tables on it off the beach, and people had to jet ski to get to it. That's what that was my vision of a perfect practice when I was in chiropractic school. So it's changed since then, right? I actually don't want that as a practice. I have my dream practice now, and it looks very different. But how do people put into, my dream practice has x-rays and a team and sees 100 people a day plus and has instrumentation, like it's that. And so that dream has changed. How does someone come into what focus of what their dream practice is?
It's such a good question. I think the answer is experience. I think it's trying stuff on, and if it sticks, it's good. If it doesn't stick, you shake it off and you go next. I think it's also going and getting adjusted by a lot of different people if we're talking chiropractic. I don't really like when people come and watch me adjust. Like I have new doctors say, can I come shadow you? And I say, no, I don't really like that, but come get adjusted. Come get on my table, come experience what my office feels like and take what you like and leave the rest. I might go to somebody else's practice. This happens all the time, actually. And I think I could never do this all day. Like, this is like my biggest nightmare come true. So it's different for every walk of life. I think it also comes down to who is the population that you really get lit up in serving? Who is your perfect practice member? The rule of thumb is it's usually you 3 to 5 years ago, because you figured out the problems that they're struggling with. And human nature, especially chiropractors, we want to help people move through problems. So if those problems are so close to you that you just figured them out, you're probably going to be really lit up by working with people who are where you're at 3 to 5 years ago. So my dream practice member are moms who are trying to figure it out. Like their kids are getting older. They're trying to figure out what their next phase looks like. I could hold babies and bellies all day long. Like that is my jam, but I'm really loving working with moms who are a little bit younger than me. Their hair is starting to turn gray. Their menstrual cycle is starting to change. They're sweating more. And I love just listening and supporting and giving them the best adjustment of my ability. So if you center it around who you love to spend your time with, you can't fail. The rest is details, right? Like the where and the what and all that. Be around people who you love being around. And then I'm going to say one more thing, because this is very important. In Staffless Practice, when I'm working with my clients, we talk about the protection of 3 things: time, energy, and money. We need to protect our time and our practice members' times, our money and our energy. So as long as we're in fair exchange with time, energy, money, you can't really go wrong. And part of that is being legit, like dotting your I's and crossing your T's. But most of that is saying yes when you mean yes, saying no when you mean no, getting to know what it feels like to not honor that truth in you, and being in balance with all of it, taking care of your physical body, taking care of your emotional body. All of it is imperative to loving your practice.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Is that fair?
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I know you said how much you were connecting with old timers, which I'm sorry to say you and I are going to get close to being old timers. It's coming. But connecting with old timers and Sherman and reading green books in the back of seminars and all that. Where to you does philosophy, where does that fit, or how does that come, what part does that have to play in terms of your practice?
Right. Simon, I was just on with Simon Senzon, and he was asking me about this too. And the answer is everything. Like, from the way that my phone gets answered, it doesn't get answered, but if it did, literally everything in my practice is congruent with my philosophy that the power that made the body heals the body every time without exception. It just needs a space to do so. And I know that that is true more than I know that anything is true. I know that I know maybe one or two things in this life. And one of them is that the power that made the body heals the body every time without exception. It just needs the space to do so. And if Sally says, Jody, my headache, it didn't go away after the last adjustment, my answer has to be congruent with my philosophy. And usually my answer is, like having curiosity, not making Sally wrong, not telling her that that's not what chiropractors do, but having curiosity about it if I have time, right? Why do you think you have migraines, Sally? And just first of all, saying her name, identifying her. Second of all, asking her the question, putting the power back in her hands, right? Why do you think you have migraines, Sally? And hear the first thing that comes out of her mouth, because it's usually right. If I don't have time, if my watch is going tick-tock and I've got the next person waiting and giving me the look, and you guys know what that look is, then I say, I love you and I love your migraine, face down.
Mm-hmm.
And then I might say, tell me something you're grateful for. So every single opportunity I have is about honoring. And you guys, I screw this up all the time. But when I screw it up, it's like a buzzer goes off, ying, 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 right? And I go back and I clean it up. That's why it's practice. We screw it up, we fall down, we brush ourselves up, we pull up our big girl pants, and we get back up and we do it again, right? And we do it again, and we do it again, and we do it again until we're done. I don't think I'm going to be done anytime soon, Danny.
Mm-hmm. Me neither. I just maybe do more of other things and also do this.
There's a lot to do, isn't there?
Well, when you realize that giving is part of the joy, and that there's more to give as you give more, it gets pretty exciting.
Yeah, and you know what? I've also had to learn that there's nothing wrong with receiving too. Like, I thought for a long time that I had to give it away for free. Mm-hmm. That for some reason I had to discount my care. And the truth is, if I go to the Ritz-Carlton and I ask for a room, they're not going to discount me. My adjustment is the Ritz-Carlton of chiropractic, and yours is too. If you're listening to these words, you're tapped into our world. Your adjustment is the Ritz-Carlton of chiropractic. You deserve to be in fair exchange for it. You deserve every single penny that comes your way for that adjustment. And I think that is a big lack in the chiropractic profession. This mindset that we don't deserve and that we can't ask. Because guess what, my friends, you can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And what you do is so incredibly valuable. Like, people couldn't really actually pay for what it's worth.
Right. What is that number?
Right. In terms of,
like, if I knew that Jeff Bueno's adjustment was going to affect my life the way that it would, what would the dollar be? Would it be $100,000? Probably. How do you know what adjustment is going to be that adjustment for somebody? You don't. So figure out fair exchange and charge it.
Right. And what you do is so incredibly valuable. And really also understanding, and please feel free to comment on this. I feel very strongly that the receiving happens as an effect of the giving. And you have to focus on the giving. You focus on the receiving first without really giving, or giving to the sake of receiving. The receiving doesn't happen as big. The receiving happens bigger when you focus on the giving.
Yeah.
In exchange,
You can't think of anything else though when you're holding a baby and adjusting them. It's
yeah,
pure.
exactly. Well, now I'm super thrilled to have you as part of this year's success panel. In fact, maybe I'll just say, because I haven't really announced it, and people will be on this and they'll may hear this before we actually, post it. But the success panel is going to be Mel Krug, Mel, Dr. Mel Krug, Michelle McCarthy, Seth Ryan, Matthew Mancuso, Allison Bremner, and Jodi Dinnerman. It's going to be a phenomenal question and answer session. And I think this guy, Darren Mazeppa, he's going to be doing the panel.
Awesome.
The Q&A, the emceeing. That's what I meant to say.
Well, I'm certainly successful if joy is our measure. I'm going to say it again. Actually, I had a call today with my coach, and she asked me what my magic is, like what's my special sauce when it comes to being on the planet, when it comes to being a chiropractor, a wife, a mom, all of the things. And my answer was really surprising to me. It was, I do things and I say things that are usually not done and said, right? So I have no problem telling you my deepest secret. I have no problem showing you how broken I am, or talking about things that aren't appropriate, right? And I make the exception every time I can to be as vulnerable as possible. Mm-hmm. And I do it at risk because sometimes you put yourself out there and you get hurt, right? So I invite whoever's listening to figure out what your special sauce is and to go for it. Like, really, if your special sauce is that you're really funny, then call yourself a funny chiropractor. If your special sauce is that you just have a thing for babies and then make that what you do. Figure out what your special sauce is and lean into it. Because you know what, you guys, it goes fast. Danny and I graduated 24 years ago, and it's like I blinked and here we are, right?
Right.
It goes fast. So lean into the joy of it.
Right. Absolutely. Now, if people want to connect with you more, how do they do that?
Find me on Facebook, find the Staffless Practice community. Danny will have a link for it. That's where I give all my free stuff away. It's where I do trainings. There's so much going on in our Facebook group. Excellent.
Well, we look forward to seeing you at Mile High. We also look forward to seeing you as part of the Q&A success panel. And also look forward to the Practice Joy Show, it comes out. What's the first one?
The first one is going to be the towards the end of the first week in September. So literally. Okay.
Excellent. Well, perfect. And we look forward to seeing everybody at Mile High. If you have not reserved your seats, you most certainly do want to. RiseUpToMileHigh.com. You want to rise up, so this is your opportunity. And we, keep changing spines, lives, and minds with chiropractic. Dr. Jody, thank you for all your contributions, and thank you for being part of Mile High this year.
You got it, my friend.